I've tried to explain why simply putting the students into the classes you want them to be in isn't going to work out. So, what should we do instead? Well, I think what we need are two things. First of all, we need different pathways that will lead students to success, not just the college prep pathway, but a variety of paths that will lead the students to success. And the second thing I think we need is genuine remediation, not just a dumping ground for any student that can't be in the college prep courses, regardless of the reason, but genuine remediation. Regarding that first point, fortunately, some people who are smarter than me and know about more useful things than me have already put a lot of thought into that. There's a paper called Pathways to Prosperity that was put out by the Harvard Graduate School of Education. Robert Schwartz and Ronald Ferguson were the leaders of the group who wrote it, and they're both professors there. It's pretty unusual as a teacher to read a paper that you agree with completely, but that was one. I think for school policy, we could pretty much just copy and paste. Those guys have done a great job. That whole team has done a great job of thinking about how to create multiple pathways to prosperity, and I recommend reading that paper and acting on it. As for genuine remediation, I have some ideas about that. I think remediation is something that a lot of educators are wildly optimistic about, irrationally optimistic about. There's this idea among educators that we can take a student who's doing math on a second grade level and put him into Algebra 1, and that by differentiating or designing lessons with universal design for learning in mind, the Algebra 1 teacher is just going to catch this kid up on 7 years of mathematics, via a warm-up or something. And this, of course, is crazy. I mean, there's optimism, and then there's wishful thinking, and then there's this, imagining that you're just going to catch a kid up who's demonstrated a weakness in math. Real remediation is going to be a very intensive and individualized process. It's going to be something that kids just have to choose. So here's what I'm picturing. A student comes up into ninth grade, and we find that the student is very weak in math. So first we discuss the various pathways to prosperity that we have, and the student says, I'm really committed to the college path. That's what I'm trying to do. Now, with a student, we always need to be honest without ever being negative. We should be positive, but we always have to be honest. And so this kid needs to know that he or she is years off the pace for a college prep. But if the student still says, I want to do that, I'm committed to that college path, then we need to have a genuine remedial course for those students who want to make that commitment. And here's what I'm envisioning. I'm picturing a teacher with a small number of students, maybe 6 to 8 students tops. I'm picturing every one of those students being connected with a mentor, preferably someone who's completed this remedial program in the past and is now performing well in high school or college math courses. I'm picturing the network including parents of those students, and that whole network having access to each other via text, tweet, phone, and constantly checking in on each other. I'm picturing that whole network being charged with the task of preparing these students for college prep work, no matter what it takes. I'm envisioning less privacy in this group and more accountability than we usually have in a classroom. Like maybe the students all know what each other's grades are. Maybe they know whether each person is meeting their goals. I'm picturing the teacher having individual plans for each student, communicating those plans to mentors and mentors and parents holding students accountable. If I need a student to come after school for half an hour to go over something, I expect that student to be there. If I need that student to do their homework in my presence so that I can see they're doing their homework correctly, then I need the student to come every day after school. And we're just all going to agree to do whatever it takes to get this student ready. I imagine that we would want to connect students not only in the future but also in the past, so that as they're moving on to Algebra 1, they're still maintaining a connection to this community, to each other, and to the teacher. I imagine that they're giving back as they get to Algebra 2 or more advanced courses, or even as they move on to college. This would be expensive, surely. I mean, you put a teacher with 4 or 5 or 7 kids instead of 25 or 30, it's going to be expensive. But speaking, not even as an educator, but as a taxpayer, I can say it's totally worth it. That's a totally good investment. Anytime you can really fix a kid and get them back on track in mathematics, it's worth almost whatever you would want to spend on it. So that's my idea for a plan that would actually work. Multiple pathways to success and genuine remediation. And then once we did that, we could really focus on improving that college prep curriculum as well. We could make it a lot more rigorous and a lot more fundamentally sound.